Everybody, this is Ilana Michelson from ilanamichelson.com or optiontoheal.com, whichever you please. Both my names are there. And before I start anything else, I have a first submission for the happiness program. Thank you so much to Gila Rappaport. And I'm going to say it in the name of the person who she took it from, which is David Jablinowitz. Now, I was going to take you out on a walk today, but because we got this first submission, I decided it was more important to read it than to go out for a walk. So you have to wait for the walk till tomorrow. So let me read to you what this nice submission is. Okay, so you have a time for a little story. A bus driver called me a bit earlier. He explained that he has his limits on the number of passengers he can take. On a ride this afternoon, he had hit the limit. But then a mother and a child flagged him down at a stop. He opened the door and politely explained that he could take no more passengers. The mother explained that she had to take her little boy to an appointment with a specialist and would be late for the appointment. Two teens on the bus jumped up immediately, volunteered to get off, says the driver. What if you can't get on the next bus, the driver asked. We're not in any rush to run on the teens. It's nothing important as a doctor's appointment. The mother was thankful and a bit tearful in response to the good deed carried out. Stay healthy, the teen shouted. If not for Corona, I'd hug the two of you, said the mom, which then prompted the driver to interject. Hey, Ima, if you don't stop talking, you'll miss the doctor's appointment. Let's get going. Anyway, I thought that was just a really sweet, nice story about two teens who gave up their spot for a mother who needed the spots on the bus. And I don't know how it is in the rest of the world. Here in Israel, they're only allowed to take a certain number of people on a bus at a time because of the Corona. They want to have some distancing. And so the fact that these two teens gave up their spots was actually a really nice deed because they didn't even know if they can get onto the next bus or not, because the next bus might have been just as full as that bus. Anyway, I got some comments yesterday about the happiness. Happiness is a choice. And many people said that they've been fighting and struggling with that idea for the longest time, and they're just not able to get happiness as a choice. And then even when they think that they finally get to something happy, something comes in and knocks them right down. Now, what I'm going to say is that choosing happiness as a choice and choosing happiness as a way of life is not something that happens instantaneously. It's something that you have to work on. And I've been working on it for a good 12 years because 12 years ago when I got divorced, I was not such a happy person. I was actually a really pretty unhappy person. If you ask anybody who knew me at that time, they'll be able to tell you what an unhappy person I was. Aside from the fact that I spent a lot of time crying, I felt a lot of time really angry. And I wasn't necessarily angry about the breaking of a marriage that I knew wasn't a good marriage to begin with, but I lost of a dream and all sorts of things like that, and what would happen to my children having to grow up with single parents, and things like that. I had a lot of anger, and I had a lot of sadness, and I had a lot of grief, and I had a lot of being unhappy in general. And throughout the years, I've learned to do what's called state control. Now, state control is not just like an actor who stands up and can make themselves happy or cry on demand so that they can portray something over to an audience. In my opinion, state control, what it really means is that I'm able to go inside, look for a happy memory or a happy thought, go into that happy thought and happy memory, stand like I did then, breathe like I did then, feel like I did then, act as if I was there right this very moment, and in such a way, I create for myself happiness. Now that is what you call unconditional happiness, because regardless of what's going on around outside of me, inside, I still feel that feeling of happiness. And if you want to, try it right now, okay? Go into a state where you remember that you were totally, completely, and utterly happy. And if you don't have a state like that, think about a movie that you once saw or a book that you once read. And in that book or in that movie, you saw an actor or a character who was totally happy. Put yourself in their place. Imagine how they would be breathing. Imagine how they'd be standing. Imagine how they were holding up their head. Just imagine all those things and feel the feelings as if you were them or if you were you at that point right this very moment. And as you're in that place, without changing anything whatsoever, don't change the way you're breathing, the way you're standing, the way you're holding yourself, try to feel a bad thought. Try to feel a sad thought. I'll bet that most of you find it really hard to feel that sad thought. Now that's what I mean by state control. So if I know I'm going to meet somebody and I want them to see me in a certain way, I'll put myself in that state. And I'll keep myself in that state so that when they meet me, that's what they'll be seeing. And to a certain extent, or to a great extent, when I choose happiness, I keep for myself a whole list of happy memories inside my memory bank. And when I need to, I pull them out. And I go one by one, adding to the happiness. Now that's not to say that there aren't times where I'm down, because there are times when I'm down. And then sometimes I even say to myself, okay, I'm giving myself half an hour to just cry and have self-pity on myself. And after that half an hour, I'm going to snap out of it. And I do that because sometimes I do need to release those feelings. But I also know that I don't want to wallow in those feelings. Because if I wallow in those feelings, I'll never be able to get out. And if I'm never able to get out, I won't be productive. I won't do the things I want to do, like have fun, like be happy, or like spend time with people that I love, and all those type of things. So when I say that I choose happiness as a way of life, what I'm actually saying is I'm choosing to think the thoughts that I want to be thinking. I'm choosing to keep a stock of good memories, happy memories in my memory bank that I could pull out on demand. And just realize one thing, when I work with people very often and I tell them, okay, tell me your bad memories. And then suddenly they start saying, which one should I tell? I have that one, 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 I have that one. And they're just like wallowing in it. And then I say, okay, now choose a good memory. And they're like, I don't know, I don't really have a good memory. I can't think of a good memory. Now, why is that? People don't have good memories. What is that, number one, our world as it's created is a world that's meant to be sharing misery. You have support groups for people who got divorced, support groups for abused people, support groups for alcoholics, support groups for drug addicts, support groups for people who have this cancer, that cancer, support groups for people who have diabetes. And what do these people do in all these support groups? They all talk about their problems. They share their problems. They share their misery. They feel some sort of sense of community with their misery. And that's why I started this happiness program, because I want people to feel a sense of community within the happiness, not within the misery. I want them to make happiness as juicy as can be. I want to make it so that they'll remember it, they'll feel it, and they'll want to go there again and again and again, and they'll want to share it with everybody around them. So choosing happiness means paying special attention to the way you're feeling, stopping yourself when you see that you're going off on a tangent in the wrong direction, and getting yourself onto the right direction. Now, let me remind you one other thing. If you've been spending your whole life going into the misery, you have a really enormous neural pathway to get to that misery. On the other hand, you have a really, really small pathway to get to the good feelings and the happy feelings. What I want to do with you and anyone who works with me, that's what I actually do with them, is I have them stretch that happy pathway, make it bigger and make it stronger, and at the same time, take the bad pathway, the pathway for all the sad things and angry things and bad feelings that they have, and make it smaller and smaller and smaller. And as soon as it gets small enough and this gets big enough, it becomes easy to go into the happy. So, if you'd like to choose happiness, write down below, I choose happiness. I choose to keep the good memories on hand so that I can go into them. Hi there, Cheryl. One cool tip that I have for the happiness is have on your phone, most people have smartphones these days, a bunch of photographs of things that you did that made you happy. And then whenever you need to go into a happy place, just flip open your phone, look at the photographs, feel the good memories, be it with friends, be it with family, or be just with yourself, a place where you felt peaceful. Write things down over there that make you feel good. And when you need to, go and read it. If you see a meme which has a nice, beautiful saying in it, copy that, or take a photo, like a screen picture of it, and put it on your phone as well, so you can look at that and make yourself feel happy. It used to be I would tell people to put it in a notebook, and there's something about actually writing it down that's really worthwhile doing. But if you can't write it down, make your smartphone be that notebook. Have on your smartphone a whole bunch of resources that you can go to whenever you want to feel happy, whenever you want to stop yourself in the path of going down the path of misery, and instead choose a happy path. And if you do this over and over enough times, the misery path will get smaller and smaller and smaller, while the happy path will get bigger and bigger and bigger, till it become your natural state. You'll naturally go to the happiness. And I've been working on it for a long time, so it's not something that's going to happen just like this. Well, you didn't see the snap, just like this. It's going to take a while, but you're going to notice slowly but surely how, number one, you'll be feeling better. Number two, people are going to start commenting to you about how much better you're doing and how they see such changes in your life based on what you're telling them. And as you see the more changes, you'll find more and more things to be happy about. It's a choice. It's a state of mind that you choose to be. And everyone has the capacity to do that. They just have to have the desire to do that, and they have to have the discipline to stop themselves whenever they find themselves going down the path of misery. And that doesn't mean you need to beat yourself up when you go there. Sometimes it happens. So be it. But when you do catch yourself, give yourself a pat on the back and feel good about yourself. And that will be another happy memory to put into your memory bank for happy things. And then the next time you can pull out that memory as well and make another memory even stronger. And if you need to, take out all your happy memories together, make it as strong as you can till it fills up your whole entire room, the whole space around you, until people who walk in will be changed for the better because they'll feel that happiness. Anyway, write down below, I choose to be happy. Have a great morning, have a great evening, have a great day wherever you are in this world. Keep safe. And remember, everything's always going my way. Everything's always going your way. Everything's always going everybody's way. Take care. From Ilana Michelson for optiontoheal.com.